Hi. Hello, everyone. This is, as promised, an overview of how to answer question 2. Now, you will have seen some of this material before, so don't start shouting at the camera and go, yes, Julia told us this. I know. We're just going over it again, purely concentrating on question 2, because if you're anything like me, you will have forgotten some things. So, today, as I've said, we're basing all the assignments this week on the schools and homework resource on page 21-ish of your handbook. And I've also got the PDF in this week's classroom. And you'll need to make sure you've read this first. I'm just going to get rid of myself. There I go. Right. So I'm going to be running through some examples of how to answer the questions. These examples will be based on how can my son be a year old already and lost boy, which I think you did in week 14, those texts on childhood. So you've read those already. So question 2, as you will remember, is about comparing. You might be asked to find what's different or what's similar in the text. Don't get too hung up on whether it's similar or different. It's the comparing is the important thing. So it is worth 8 marks. So you need to take about 8 to 10 minutes to do this. And you're asked to summarize the similarities or differences about something in a text. This is what you're marked on officially. You're marked on finding things to compare. You're marked on making statements that you show you understand what these differences or similarities are. And then you are marked on analyzing or discussing these differences in more depth, drawing conclusions about what they mean, or as we call this, inference. You're inferring meaning from about the differences. So we'll go through this step by step. So question 2, the ways the boys spend their time playing as young children is different. Use details from both sources to write a summary of the different activities the boy in source A enjoys and the boy in source B enjoyed when he was young. Here's a little Victorian child playing with his toy. Victorian children always look very glum in photographs. I don't know why. I think they were having a terrible time. So what you need to do first of all is underline the most important parts of the question. Now, Julia and I say this nearly every week, and you don't always do it. And what happens is you end up writing about the wrong thing. We're getting some beautiful answers about something entirely different. In this case, you're being asked to compare the activities the boys like to do. So write about that. Don't write about what their moms think about them or what their dads think about them. You're writing about the activities the children like to do. So find things in the text you can compare. Summarize, just say what these differences are, and then draw some conclusions. What do these differences or similarities tell you? This is known as making inferences. So, as I said, in question 2, you are looking for the different activities the boys like doing, nothing else. These are the things you can compare. Well, there's probably more, but this is what we came up with. So the boy in source A loves to run up to people and have them twang his lips. The boy in source B loves playing with sheep and cattle and pop guns and bows and arrows, etc. Little boy in source C loves to bark gibberish, and the boy in source B loves to make some noises, a shrill whistle, a crack of the whip, making noises with his drums and trumpets. So now I just need to summarize what those statements mean. So the fact that the little boy loves running up to people and waiting for them to twang his lips shows me that he likes playing with adults. He likes being the center of attention. The boy in source B, on the other hand, likes playing with toys. Source A, they both like to make noises, so I pulled out those details. But the boy in source A likes to make a noise, like trying to communicate, trying to tell adults something. Whereas in source B, the noises are more like kind of random, and they're not verbal. He's not trying to communicate. He's just playing with his toys. They're all noises that are associated with his toys, the games he's playing with his toys. So just to write that in a paragraph, the boy in source A seems to love playing with adults. He loves running up to people and waiting for them to twang his lips, showing he loves to be the center of attention. Whereas the boy in source B plays more independently with toys, pop guns, bows and arrows, whips, tops and go-karts. So I've immediately got some points here. I've identified some things to compare these quotes here, and I've just said what those quotes mean. Really important here, I have put inverted commas around the quote. You must do that. If you're taking any quotes from the text, you need to put inverted commas around them to show that they're quotes. I've done it here as well. I've actually just done single quote marks here. It doesn't matter. They mean the same thing. It's best if you do the same. But anyway, so you need to put quote marks around any quotes. We've written our statement and we've identified the differences. Now we just need the last bit. We need to draw those conclusions about the differences. What can you infer from the differences or similarities? So what I'm saying here is, well, they do like doing different things. This could be because the boy in source A is younger and not able to play independently. But it could also indicate differing attitudes towards childhood in the 19th century. Maybe children were expected to be more independent. And then you need to make 2 points like that. So your answer is going to look like this. Pause that and read them if you want to. So there's 2 paragraphs. If you are struggling to do 2 paragraphs, which you might be because it's really hard, it's better just to do 1 good paragraph rather than 2 rushed ones. Because then you're showing the examiner that you've got those skills. You're showing the examiner that you can compare. You can find things to compare. You can summarize, make statements about what those different things mean, and you can draw your conclusions. You can make your inferences. They're the skills you're being marked on. So if you only do 1 paragraph, you might lose marks because you haven't done a range of examples, but you're still showing you've got those key skills. So if you find yourself running out of time, that's the best thing to do. So now, assignment 2. Hopefully you've already done assignment 1, which was the true or false question. Assignment 2, as I've said, is about schools and homework. You need to refer to source A and source B for this question. Use details from both sources. Write a summary of the differences between Eddie and Henry, which is 8 marks. Now remember, stick to the question. We're writing about Eddie and Henry, not Eddie and Henry's dad or their teachers or anything. You need to find things you can compare about those boys, write short statements explaining those differences, and you need to draw conclusions about these differences. What do these differences show us about the different boys? What can we infer? Remember also, there's a written guide to answering this question in the classroom. Good luck, and we look forward to reading your answers.